His name is Carlos Roman, a small business owner in Los Angeles County, whose story has gone viral. A family man providing for his young sons, who a few years back opened one of LA County's most popular restaurants, Bread and Barley. Gourmet eats, craft beers, lots of customers. Then COVID struck. Roman told only takeaway or to-go orders were now allowed, according to COVID restrictions enforced by LA County's Department of Public Health, where every morning its health inspectors go out looking for local businesses breaking the rules, rolling out across the vast LA County megalopolis of 10 million people. One inspector showing up at Carlos Roman's Bread and Barley restaurant, telling Roman he saw customers eating on benches out front that's strictly prohibited. That resulted in Roman being fined $5,000 and being issued a notice of closure.
They put this notice of closure on the door.
Roman protested the benches outside where customers were seen eating are public benches, not his, and that the health inspector could not possibly expect him to tell customers to leave.
He said no one's allowed to sit on a public bench in front of the restaurant, and it's our responsibility to make them leave. That made me very angry. And I really wanted to just confront that health inspector.
Roman, with his back to the camera, is then videotaped by an employee confronting the health inspector, this individual wearing a white mask. Roman yelling that one of his employees just had a baby and they can't pay their bills.
They can't pay their bills! The cook just had a baby. He's with his family right now. This guy needs to know how hard it is. That's what he needs to know. You're out here enforcing, doing your job. Did you get a paycheck on Friday? You're just doing your job, right? We're all in this together. When I go to the bank, do I tell the bank the health department said it's okay? The health department said I don't have to pay you. The health department said I can't make a living.
Hey, sir.
I can't make any money.
Sir.
Is that what I tell the bank?
Sir, can you step up here for me, please?
What do I tell my employees? What do I tell my employees?
The police had showed up because Roman parked his truck behind the health inspector's vehicle, blocking him from leaving.
So if we can't work, he can't work.
Public records from LA County had even supported Roman's Bread and Barley restaurant as one with top A grades and high scores for cleanliness. And now Roman says during the COVID pandemic, there's no reason he should have been closed down.
This is unheard of. How does the government decide, okay, well, it's not working, so close?
Roman ultimately moved his truck that day and the health inspector left the scene. But the damage had been done. Roman laid off his employees, some unsure they'd find other work. And Roman wasn't the only small business owner in Los Angeles County upset by COVID-19 restrictions and visits from health inspectors. Doug Four, owner of a restaurant called Bun Street, who's also a family man with kids, says an undercover LA County Health Department inspector posing as a customer recently tried to bribe and entrap his employees to let him eat inside, offering his employees money to let him eat inside the restaurant.
And my employee said no. He then offered him $20, saying, I'll tip you really good. I just want to sit down. I'm on my break. Please let me sit down. My employee still said no. He said, you're going to lose out on my business. I know you need business right now. My employee said, we don't allow that. He then walked out the door, left. 1 minute later, he turned around, came back in, and identified himself with a badge as LA County Health Department and told us, oh, you guys did a good job not allowing me to, but we're getting complaints that you guys are allowing people to sit down.
What do you call that?
Entrapment, 100%. Come and be a human, come and talk to us.
It's not just small businesses like restaurants complaining about LA County Health Department inspectors and restrictions. Other businesses ordered closed or told to limit the amount of customers inside include hair salons, bookstores, arts and craft stores, local auto repair shops, privately run motels, and locally owned coffee shops. And the impact of COVID restrictions has been taking a toll. Nearly 10,000 small businesses in Los Angeles County have now gone permanently out of business since COVID struck, leading to massive layoffs. Just how many? Almost 500,000 people in Los Angeles County have lost their jobs. After what happened to small business owners like Carlos Roman and Doug Four, several towns across Los Angeles County, including Beverly Hills, have begun rebelling against the LA County Department of Public Health, saying enough is enough. Cities now forming their own health departments instead of following county health restrictions in order, they say, to protect local businesses that are important sources of city tax revenues. For example, in Doug Four's town of West Covina, about 20 minutes east of Los Angeles, West Covina city leaders recently passed a law to form the city's own health department.
I can talk forever.
City Councilman Tony Wu, West Covina's flamboyant former mayor, was first to propose a city health department because he said county health inspectors had way too much control over businesses in West Covina.
So we need to have a local control, a local policy to serve our population.
West Covina's current mayor, Letty Lopez Viado, says LA County COVID-19 restrictions and lockdowns have stressed out too many small business owners and caused severe trauma among residents here.
I know we've had some residents who reached out, losing their jobs. They didn't know what to do. We found out the lockdown caused more harm. We've had an increase of domestic violence. We had an increase suicide. We have an increase of depression. And there's no outlet, and people need outlet. We are social beings after all. We need to be around people.
She says LA County health inspectors are known for bullying business owners. That contributed to West Covina rebelling against LA County.
If you do it peacefully, yes, you have to, because it's almost the same thing as bullying. And so if you don't do anything, you stay silent, you're not going to get good results. So you can rebel, but just do that.
West Covina #1.
However, these rebellions against LA County may be more symbolic than anything else, because ultimately, any local health department like West Covina's must follow the COVID-19 health mandates of the state of California, particularly those set by California Governor Gavin Newsom, who by law has the power and has been using it to order counties and cities across the state to follow strict COVID health restrictions and lockdowns mandated by the state. Lockdowns Governor Newsom himself has controversially been caught ignoring, at least on one occasion, when he was photographed dining at a posh restaurant in Napa Valley wine country with friends, wearing no masks, flouting his own rule of no dining inside. A public scandal that resulted in Newsom facing the possibility of a recall election to remove him from office. Additionally, small business owners like Doug Four question why Newsom's restrictions and lockdowns don't seem to apply to many larger businesses and shopping store giants in the state. For example, big corporate-run stores where hundreds of customers can be seen moving around next to each other inside the stores.
It's okay to line up 85 people deep at Target. That's all okay. It doesn't make any sense.
Doug Four says he's asked health department inspectors, for example, why big stores can have customers inside and yet small businesses like his cannot.
They say that they're not here to talk about other people, they're only here to talk about us.
We showed up in person to the LA County Health Department after it failed to respond to our phone call and email attempts to address the small business complaints we've heard against the health department inspectors. The intercom at the front entrance didn't seem to work. We were hoping we could at least meet with a PIO, a public information officer. And after some time, we got lucky when this health department inspector walked our way on the other side of a barred security fence surrounding the facility.
How you doing, sir? Good. Are you a health inspector?
Yeah.
Can I talk with you? My name's Mike Kirsch. I'm with CGTN out of Washington, D.C.
Oh, no, we got a PIO.
You guys aren't allowed to talk?
No.
You guys are getting a lot of complaints from business owners showing up, setting them up.
We have a PIO for that.
What's your PIO's name?
I'll get that for you.
Thank you. Hi. Do you have a spokesperson who will talk with us about the complaint?
It's this nobody can talk, going around in circles routine from the health department that small business owners often complain about.
Because you can't contact their office and talk to anybody.
We can't survive anymore, man.
The day Carlos Roman was closed down, he says the one thing the health inspector told him was that he was just doing his job.
The health department told me they have a job to do.
He has a job.
Do you have a job?
We all have jobs.
She
that we
can't
have
do
to
hers.
We all have jobs.
Are you able to do yours?
I have a job.
Did the health department come and say, sorry, you can't do your
I
job?
don't agree with the things that my job does, but I have to do them, okay? Because I have to provide for my family.
We don't even have a job to provide for our
I understand,
family.
but this is not the way to go about it.
What
okay?
is?
There's so much uncertainty. There's no way to know if I'm even going to be able to open again. That's the difficulty of this. That's something that's more than just business. That's personal. That affects my life, my livelihood, my children. This place was one of the most popular places on the street. Bread and Barley created an atmosphere that felt like you were at a friend's house having dinner. It felt like you were out with your buddies having some drinks in their backyard. This place on a Friday night, you'd have to stand at the door and wait 30, 45 minutes to get a seat. And that's the kind of place that we wanted. We created that. After COVID and the lockdowns, we did everything we could.
Roman says throughout the pandemic, he has followed every order the county gave businesses on how they must operate to keep customers safe, like when the county early on requested outdoor dining.
I put up fans, I put up a canopy, turf, tables, chairs, everything. It cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $12,000 to get all that built. Doing my part to do and to comply with exactly what the order was supposed to be.
But suddenly the order to eat outside was changed to to-go orders only. That's when a health inspector spotted customers sitting and eating outside Roman's restaurant, shutting him down. Roman appealed the closure and lost, and says it was unclear when, if ever, he'd be permitted to reopen his business.
I completely understand COVID, and I don't downplay this pandemic at all. I'm not sitting here saying there's no such thing as COVID or it's just some silly cold. I'm not one of those people. My mom got COVID first in my family, and it was serious. I thought I was gonna lose my mom. And that put a really difficult fork in my path because under one hand, I was angry for having to close my outdoor dining, having to shut down my restaurant to the point where I can't make any money. And on the other hand, I'm watching my mom suffer and really go through this disease that's looks like it's gonna kill her. And so I don't downplay that. She's fine now, she recovered, she fully recovered, and she's doing great. I didn't downplay it then, and I don't downplay it now.
Roman says he's invested 15 years of his life opening the restaurant and making it a success, which included pouring his life savings into it. And now he stands to lose at least, he says, $100,000 this year alone.
Everything that's lost is gone. It's not coming back. There isn't any money for anything new. And then maybe bankruptcy.
He says the costs alone just to open his business for building permits and fees is more than many people might imagine.
I had spent almost $50,000 in just fees. The bills are gonna come due.
So all these bills have to be paid.
All these bills have to be paid. I can't get out of them.
Including his insurance bill.
This is the insurance that doesn't cover viruses or pandemics, but I still have to pay $936 a month for liability insurance in case someone slips and falls or something happens. Most insurance companies, after the last, SARS or bird flu outbreak, wrote into their policies specific virus exclusions. And so that's written clearly into my policy at the very beginning of the pandemic. I did apply with my insurance. I tried to file a claim. They responded with a denial letter saying that they're not responsible for any sort of pandemic coverage. So there's no insurance for that.
When you need them most.
I pay thousands in insurance. I pay $14,000 a year for liability insurance. I have 3 boys that have to do their school from home. I have a teenager that prior to this was very social, that was on his phone, that was going to friends' houses, that was hanging out with friends. That's all gone. I took him fishing the other day and I asked him, I said, son, do you still talk to your friends? What happened to your friend Tyler? And he said, no, I don't. I just kind of lost contact with him. And it broke my heart because my son was a social kid and that's gone. They don't have that environment anymore because this is the power that we've given one person.
Do your best to not mix with strangers, people outside of your immediate household.
That person, California Governor Gavin Newsom, who ordered one of the most forbidding lockdowns in the nation that would crush businesses like Carlos Roman's. But then Governor Newsom would abruptly reverse himself and lift the lockdown just after a new U.S. president and fellow Democrat took power from the previous U.S. administration. Newsom lifting the lockdown at a time when health officials still warn that COVID-19 remains a significant risk to the community.
I think it's very fishy that here we are and all of a sudden our governors decided that they're going to lift the local lockdown. It doesn't make any sense because nothing's changed.
West Covina leaders as well say Governor Newsom's decision to ease COVID restrictions may be motivated politically.
You know, we said, well, after the new administration comes in, we were going to see things open, which it did. I understand that there's a lot of political things that occur behind the scenes.
We picked LA, not a small county, and San Diego, 2 of the biggest. So we went big and bold in the pilot.
I feel like this government has taken everything that I've worked my life for, and they have no regard for it whatsoever. I mean, do we all have to get COVID and either die or recover in order for this to get better? I do believe that human life is important. I do believe that human life is irreplaceable. I think in a situation like this, we have to make decisions for ourselves, and I don't think we should be forced to make decisions based on others. I think we should make decisions that are common sense, that work for everybody.
And he says health inspectors at the Department of Public Health need to do a better job dealing with protests and questions from small business owners, other than simply saying they're just doing their jobs.
Are you a health inspector, ma'am?
Yes. Sorry, you guys. You need to contact our department. We have specific department.
Everybody that I called, when I asked the health department, why is this? They said, well, we're just doing our job. You're gonna have to ask the higher ups. So I'd call up and they had the same story. Every single person above every single person says they're doing their job and you're gonna have to address it with someone higher up. How did we allow this? How does anybody that lives in this state allow one person to make a decision that impacts every single business owner in the entire state? We've given that power to one person and one person alone.
It was after hearing Carlos Roman's story that originally prompted us to come here to the LA County Department of Public Health. That PIO we were told was coming never came. And some health department employees requested that this security guard order me to stop filming and to leave.
Do I have to leave?
No, I can't tell you to leave because you're basically outside the premises and you have the right to be outside.
In the end, not one health inspector would talk to us. And again, the only health inspector who did talk was the one who closed down Carlos Roman that day, saying he was just doing his job.
We're all trying to do our jobs. I'm trying to do the same. Don't do your job in a method that causes me to not be able to do mine.
Finally, by day's end, a health department employee in this vehicle leaving for the day had something to say. But it wasn't exactly a pleasantry.
You don't have my authorization to film me.
I'm just doing my job.
In the end, for Carlos Roman, His restaurant was recently allowed to reopen for outdoor dining only. He says it's unclear that after a year of COVID-19 lockdowns and restrictions, if he'll ever recover, but says he has every reason to try.